Howdy, folks. We're still out at the summit, but I wanted Dan to share a story. He talked a little bit about ADAS at his shop, and he's a collision shop, and he's one of the first ones in the area to have ADAS. And a lot of folks will come over and bring their vehicles to him. And he shared two stories. One of them was a mechanical one, where if they need to calibrate it, they bring it to you because you can do that. But you had mentioned a couple of issues that some guys are having. Go ahead and tell folks what you were talking about.
So I kind of call some of this the J curve. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the concept of a J curve. Is when you learn something new, it's kind of really hard, and it takes you a little bit of time to figure out. And as you do more, you become proficient, and that's what being here with all this training is about. And then as soon as you become proficient, you start to really excel at it. And so right now, I'm not sure where I'm at the J curve with ADAS, but there's some great opportunities. One of the great opportunities I've learned from some of my fellow friends in the collision industry that have brought me some of their cars to calibrate. The majority of the time that I'm learning with ADAS is you want a clean scan on the car. If there's typically any type of DTC, most cars are not going to calibrate, and you got to diagnose what's going on before you can calibrate. There are a few exceptions to that where you can have some DTCs on certain cars, and the calibration is going to correct that DTC.
But it's best just to clear out the DTCs and then calibrate
Let's get them cleared out as much as possible and see what's going to happen.
And one of the issues that you've seen is the technicians don't plug a part back in fully, so we have a connection issue.
Thanks for bringing that up. That's what the problem has been with a handful of cars we've seen, is we have some, as we call it, a dirty scan. It's not a clean scan, a dirty scan, and going, okay, what's going on? It's obviously now not going to calibrate because of that dirty scan. And typically what we've diagnosed, and again, it's our fault. Maybe we need to train our technicians. Maybe we need to have a class on plugging in connectors because it's not as simple as we always think. Sometimes you think you felt that click or you heard that click and it didn't connect. So again, making sure your connectors are plugged in is a great thing just to make sure your calibrations can happen.
And now we're going to give one other tech tip. And you actually had to research this through Hondas because you were calibrating a Honda. And you got interrupted and you went away and you came back and it didn't want to calibrate. It was seeing something. And so you actually looked into the Honda information and found out that if you have a pole in your shop, you can actually put tires in front of it.
Yep. To help deal with the radar.
To deal with the radar. But in your instance, tell them what happened.
So in a nutshell, we had a 2020, it was a Civic, 2020 Honda Civic. That was hit in the left front, right where the small little radar unit is, down low. And that radar unit controls the adaptive cruise control. It sees out there and bounces radar back and forth to the car to see what's in front of you. Well, since we had to replace that unit, it needed to be calibrated. So we got it plugged in, went through the steps. We didn't have any DTCs, but it wouldn't pass the step of something was sitting in front of the car. The radar kept saying, hey, I'm seeing something. I'm not going to let you go forward with the next step for the calibration. And we had 3 times the amount that Honda recommended of open space. After being super frustrated, I think this is where sometimes we give up, but we got to remember sometimes these hard situations create lots of value in our head and in our mental toolbox and give us value on being able to repair customers' cars. In a nutshell, I did tons of research. I found through Honda data, and I don't have any poles in my shop, but Honda was saying stack tires 5 feet around the pole and see if that'll help be able to go to the next step because the radar is seeing something. Well, I'm like, I don't have any poles. So I did try to start stacking tires in front of the radar unit. My mistake, and again, with OE data, it's not always clear on exactly maybe where I need to place those tires. I was placing those tires 10 feet out, 20 feet out, hoping that the radar was going to bounce off and not see something now. But tires absorb radar. So and I just have some old tires in the back lot. We stacked up. So I did learn that it needed to be closer in front of the radar. So as soon as I could get the tires in front of the radar now did not see anything in the shop. There was something that was kind of ghosting that radar. I was able to go to the next step, finish up the calibration.
And then you drove it.
Test drive the car and make sure it's functioning with the adaptive cruise control, being able to set my 2, 3, 4 car links, and everything was working great. So again, learning something new about tires absorbing radar, OE data, all data. There's just some great information if you're willing to take the time and again, learn and put that stuff in your mental toolbox.
And the biggest thing here is when you come to these events, you're able to network and able to find out information from guys that are doing something that you may be thinking about getting into, like ADAS. So, Dan, we're so glad that you shared those tips with us today. As always, I appreciate y'all watching.
Take care.